Hello and welcome to this walkthrough video for our latest update to MIDI modulators and MultiClip editor. This is a new modulator available for download for all existing subscribers of the products designed by Chaos Culture. The Arpeggiator modulator that is part of the latest update of MultiClip and MIDI modulators is unconventional and uses a completely different approach compared to the classic arpeggiators. Instead of using a step sequencer, or by selecting an algorithm preset, this arpeggiator enables you to use a set of customizable notes, the so-called control notes. This means that you can create and manipulate them just like any other notes from a MIDI clip and use their pitch, position, length, and velocity values as your algorithm. To demonstrate this properly and to see more clearly what the modulator is doing, create or load some chords into the editor, select the Arpeggiator modulator and click on Edit Control Notes. Now you can start adding some notes in the grid on the right. Keep in mind that this grid is not using a 12-tone scale, as the note pitches don't resemble the resulting pitch values of the arpeggiator. You can think of these control notes as filters. Placing a note on the R0 line will let the lowest note of the original chord come through. Placing a note on the +1 line, however, will let the note above it come through, and so on. This is similar to an arpeggiator that uses a step sequencer, and you can use it like that if you want to, but you can be a lot more creative with this system. You don't have to stay on the grid. You can use different rhythms, note lengths, or use multiple pitch values on top of each other at the same time. This goes far beyond the use of a traditional arpeggiator and gives you a lot more freedom and flexibility. One thing to keep in mind is that the loop markers for the control notes determine the loop length of the algorithm. Just like with MIDI clips, you can use whatever loop length you want and even ignore the grid to create some interesting structures. If the loop is deactivated with the loop parameter in the modulator panel, every note that ends after the loop end marker will stay until the next time the control notes are triggered. Further options on when the control notes are triggered can be found below. The option Connect Repetitions is useful to make longer notes across the range of loop iterations. To see clearly what it does, create a control note for the lowest pitch that goes from the start to the end of the loop. Now the lowest pitch of every chord will be played back as a single note. With the time stretch options, you can quickly change the speed of the control notes without having to stretch these manually one by one. By setting the direction option to highest pitch to lowest, the modulator will do the pitch calculation in reverse. This means that the control notes on R0 now represent the highest pitch of the chord, and the control notes are basically flipped upside down. The fold mode is important to understand if you're working with chords that don't always have the same amount of notes in them. If there is a control note on +4, but the chord only has 3 notes, the modulator will by default put this control note back to the lowest pitch. If you don't want this behaviour, you can set the fold mode to limit. The third option will loop the control notes pitches back and forth. Finally, the velocities. The resulting velocity of the notes is also controlled by the control notes. You have the option to use the source notes or the control notes velocities without mixing them together, or use control notes as an offset for the resulting velocity. This allows you to easily introduce some accents here and there. This was an overview of the features of the new Arpeggiator modulator. Don't forget that you can also copy and paste the control notes to store them into a MIDI clip in Live, or to manipulate them further with other modulators. And if you're using the MultiClip version, you can of course apply the Arpeggiator on multiple clips at the same time. The maths is done on all clips within the same algorithm. This means that you can apply the effect on your bass, chords, and leads as if the notes were located on a singular MIDI clip. This can create some interesting results and, of course, happy accidents. Thanks for watching. MIDI Modulators and MIDI MultiClip Editor are available at www.isotonicstudios.com.